and today we have this Advanced Spectrum 12P. I picked this up at a local thrift store, and I think I plugged it in and ran it, and it's like, well, it sounded okay at the time, so I'm like, yeah, why don't I just go for it? But there was quite a bit of damage to this thing, because right here where the nozzle connects to the main housing, it's like the support there had broken off entirely, so I actually ended up using a piece of PVC pipe that had kind of a, what would you call it? Like, it was cylindrical and then it would flare out, so I chopped off some of the flare to make almost a platform. Well, anyways, I used that to make a new support for it after using a hole saw to kind of round the area off. And then I noticed that the belt would keep coming off of the shaft. And it's a two belt system with a clutch. So we have a belt that runs from here to the clutch assembly, and then we have another belt that runs from the clutch assembly down to the brush roll. And it appears they have fixed that in later models, because I saw a Advanced VU 500 motor, I think, for sale on eBay, and that has something on the end to prevent the belt from coming off. But I ended up doing some modification to it. I ended up using a saw blade. I just held that up to the shaft while it was running to create a score into it for me to attach a C-clip to prevent the belt from coming off. But this thing reminds me somewhat of like a Lindhaus, but it just doesn't seem like it's quite as solid as a Lindhaus. So I've kind of been jokingly referring to it as like a poor man's Lindhaus. I guess, the closest model to it would be like the Activa. But we have a post motor filter here. I just got new filters and bags for it. And then we have a handle adjustment here, just like a Lindhaus. You push that in, you can push the handle down. And I still do not understand what the point of this is. It's just there, and it doesn't really seem to do anything. Oh yes, and it does have a bag indicator light on it right over here. Now, I've never seen this before. Rather than attaching the indicator light to the AC power, it actually has its own battery attached to it. And it's like, on a commercial machine, that just doesn't seem like a great idea. It would only be a matter of time before that battery wore out, and then a lot of commercial users are pretty clueless, especially, if they're just like hired on. But yeah, so that would give out eventually. And then we have a 35mm tool set on this thing. We have space for an upholstery tool, which I don't have, and I think this is where the crevice tool would be stored. Cat's going nuts. And then this is a little bit odd. It's attached at an angle, so it swivels against the body when it's put up and makes space when it's in the down position. And yeah, these appear to be the same hose cuffs as you would find on a Lindhaus. And then as for the bag chamber, it's a top fill, which the Activa would have a side-loading one, kind of like a Panasonic U-bag almost. And then we have a pre-filter at the bottom here. And I've had this thing open enough to know that it has a Italian Amtech motor in it. And then this shouldn't close without without the bag in place. This little arm over here is pushed over and away from the housing when a bag is inserted into it, and then just kind of clips in place. And then it seems to me like the motor's starting to go out a little bit, so I wouldn't take this as like the be-all end-all test of it. I don't think I can replace the motor bearings, as I wouldn't be able to get the rear bearing over the 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 pulley for the belt, since it's widened out. And here we have our info tag. They do produce some varieties of these which have a dual motor system to them, but those are in a 15-inch width. I don't think they produce a dual motor in a 12-inch width. And then I think I might be missing some sort of guard up here, probably metallic, but the schematics are a little bit hard to read. So but I think I've rambled on enough, so why don't we get on with our tests. Alright. Voltage is running a little bit better. Gonna redo this. I'm guessing I didn't have the bag chamber closed all the way. Yep. At the end of the hose with a 35 to 32 millimeter adapter in place. Then now we're at the end of the wand, so we'll see what we get here. Can be a little bit difficult to do this one-handed. Seems like that might be our max. So let's try a nozzle suction test. Now for the pickup. Oh, a little bit of agitation. You know, I'm kind of wondering if that noise is the clutch assembly. Because just out of curiosity, I turned it off after the airflow box, and it seems like the noise was coming from right around here somewhere. I mean, I thought it was motor bearings, but, you know, from what I remember, the motor spun freely when I had it all apart. But, yeah, I mean, it's not bad, but, you know, if I were looking for a commercial machine, it wouldn't be my first choice. I would definitely pick something like Windsor or Lindhaus, Pro Team, and probably a few others over it, because, I mean, it just seems to me, you know, just my opinion is that this isn't quite as sturdy as some of the other options.